Coming up today on That LTD Life, there is a Notion competitor available as a lifetime deal on AppSumo. It's called Fusebase, and a ton of you have asked me to review it. With only about 14 days left on the deal, I figure now's the time to act or forever hold my peace. Wait a minute, that sounds like I'm getting married to Fusebase. Am I? We'll find out as I review this tool from beginning to end and help you decide if it's a good fit for your business. My name is Dave, by the way, and this video is sponsored by my favorite place to shop for software for my business. That is AppSumo. I've reviewed quite a few AppSumo tools in the recent weeks. A few that are ending soon that I recommend you check out is Nexter. This ends in about 2 days as of the recording of this video, so don't sleep on this one. It's one of the most impressive WordPress pieces of kit I have seen in quite some time. Definitely grab the LTD while it's still available. Also, the AppSumo Bundle Volume 2 is still available for just $49. You get access to 4 amazing AI tools for 1 year. So definitely check that out with my link in the description. And if you're looking for more info on either of those deals, I have produced full-length videos I'll link to as well. My thanks to AppSumo for sponsoring today's video. Now on to Fusebase. Fusebase is a tremendous application, and I'm using tremendous in the large sense of the word here. It's great as well. It's a very nice application, but there are so many features here. My first goal is to get you understanding everything that it can and quite frankly can't do, because it's not a direct Notion replacement. In fact, I don't believe it's trying to be, but if you're going into this product thinking, well, how can I replicate every single feature and use case that I'm currently using Notion for, you might be a little bit disappointed. However, what Fusebase does, it does very, very well. There are 3 main things they focus on. This is their own sales page here. So they do internal workspaces. Think of this as like a nice collaborative editing environment where you can do things like sales portals. Now, I'm going to pause there. They use the word portal in their internal workspace. A portal is a specific feature inside of Fusebase. So rather than say a sales portal, you might say like a sales database or a process database, a place where you can put everything in one place to really understand the health of your business and you can interact with your colleagues there. That's what the internal workspace is about. Fusebase, fun fact, started out as a note-taking application, seen then as more of a competitor to something like Evernote, and it's grown to such epic proportions, we're now comparing it to Notion, which is great for the Fusebase team. They definitely have not rested on their laurels. But internal workspace, we're going to look at all of these features coming up in a moment here. But like I said, we're just getting a bird's eye view of everything this tool can do. External workspace are portals, and they're going to be like little websites that you can build out. They have very nice user interfaces. In fact, I do believe we are looking at a Fusebase portal right here. They're using their own product to kind of show off what it can do. So the portals are going to have a URL that you can share with your clients. That is something that you can white label, use your own CNAME, and even have forms and send off emails from. Very, very full featured. By the way, when we talk about either internal workspaces or external workspaces, storage is going to be an issue. You're going to want to add your own documents, your own files to your workspaces. And the good news is you can do that with Fusebase. The amount of storage you get depends on the plan you buy at AppSumo. We'll revisit this pricing page at the end of the video, but I wanted to point out that this can be a little bit of a pricey application. Sure, you can get in as low as $79, but you can also go all the way up to 10 codes and spend almost $800. If you're buying the $800 version, you're going to get 2 terabytes of storage, but you better grab AppSumo Plus if you're not already a member, because it'll practically pay for itself when you get that 10% off through AppSumo Plus. So definitely do that if you're going the 10 code route. Down on the more meager plans, 1 code is going to give you 50 gigabytes of storage. It might not replace your Dropbox, but it's going to be fine for sharing some PDFs and other smaller type files. And the last component that Fusebase focuses on is AI. They're mentioning AI agents here, but AI is integrated throughout the entire tool. So regardless if you're working on internal, external, or even just browsing the web, you'll have Fusebase AI alongside you. There are Chrome extensions. Yeah, I'm not joking about browsing the web. There are Chrome extensions you can use. There's 3 of them that come with this deal. There's the Fusebase Assistant, which basically gives you access to any agents that you create, and it's contextually aware, so it can see things going on in your screen. There's also this Fusebase Clarity application that basically acts as a SOP creator, so you can do something on the screen, it documents it and creates a SOP for you that you can share with clients or other coworkers. And the last extension that you're going to get here is Fusebase Pro AI, which lets you access your Fusebase anywhere on the web. So if you want to quickly get over and make a new page, upload files, these are little shortcuts to do that. So is Fusebase ready to be your operating system for your entire business? Let's go ahead and dive into the tool. I'll show you exactly how it works. So here is Fusebase, and if we start off just talking about the structure of your account, you want to think about workspaces first. A workspace is basically like an isolated user account. Things inside of one workspace are not visible to things inside of another workspace. So if I add a document or a file to my demo workspace, no one in the workspace number 2 is going to be able to see that without having access to the demo workspace and actually just switching over and using it. It's kind of like user profile switching inside of Chrome. It's going to be completely isolated from each other. If you open up a workspace, you can see that they are organized into internal spaces and then client portals. So internal is going to be, obviously, you need to be logged into Fusebase to see everything inside of it. And then client portal, you've got some options here. It can be set to be completely public, or you can password protect it, use magic links for emails, or just do invite only. You do the building of the portal here inside of the workspace, and we'll look at that. But first, let's get into the meat and potatoes of Fusebase, which is their editor. Let's open up a brand new page here. So the editor feels very much like Notion or other similar tools where you're primarily writing in Markdown and using slash commands to add in blocks. So I can add a heading in here by doing a pound symbol, pressing space, and say my heading. And then I can go to the next line. It automatically defaults to body text. This is body text. Of course, there's a lot of blocks available. So let's hit the slash command here, and we can kind of just scan through all of the available blocks. We're gonna go down to the basic ones here because I think that really is the foundation of how you'll probably be using the tool. We've got paragraphs, tables, numbered lists, checkboxes, links, so you can link it to other documents internally quite easily, files, outlines. We can lock blocks so that other people can't edit them. And then there's some advanced blocks as well. We can do things like Kanban boards, have progress charts, drop-down lists. You can even do databases here. It's easy to add in media, things like images, audio, video, bookmarks, which are basically like shared links displaying all of the OG information, and then an Unsplash integration so you can quickly grab some stock photography. As far as the integrations go, we can embed via links and iframes. There are direct integrations with Figma and Miro, and if we click on more integrations, you're going to see that it's going to work with a ton of different tools. These are available for embeds. I mean, it's kind of just like a list of 10,000 websites. Basically, if you have the ability to export something as an embed like you do on YouTube, you would be able to do that on your Fusebase. Now, when it comes to a direct comparison between Fusebase and Notion, I want to highlight databases because databases are really the core of something like Notion. And while it's a feature inside of Fusebase, it is not as powerful as Notion. So if you are in love with advanced features inside of Notion, things like rollups or relational data, you can't do that inside of Fusebase. But let me show you what a database does look like. They're not dedicated page types like they are in Notion, and instead we just build them in line, creating a view on a page. So I can just type database here and you can see the view. Let me add that in, and we essentially get like a little spreadsheet here that we can update. The different columns can have types. We got text, numbers, currency, files, checkboxes, select, so we single or multi-select, mentions, collaborators, dates, links, ratings, and progress. So in my opinion, the database features are going to be good enough for 80-90% of users, but those power users that want stronger relational data, those are not available. We do have nice things like Kanban, so we can add in a Kanban here. It just populates with a few basic columns, and we can view it as a calendar as well. Now, a quick fun fact here about the Kanban system. Anytime I add a Kanban to a page, you'll notice this link on the Kanban. This is actually going to link us over to our tasks dashboard, which is a unified view of all of your Kanban boards across your entire system. So here is the board that I just created, and then there's an existing one from the demo setup that they created when you actually launch the workspace. There's a unified view for all of your files as well. So if you're writing inside of a document and you upload a file, so I can just type /file and basically upload a file or link to one right here. It's gonna upload this Nexter image. All right, so this is now uploaded. It's inside of my document. If I go over to files, you're gonna see that it shows up right here as well. Now, one feature that is missing from the file structure is obviously just a search box of some kind. There's no way to search your uploaded files. There is a workspace-wide search over here, but if I search for Nexter, which was the name of the file that I just uploaded, it doesn't actually look inside the files to find those. So hopefully that's a quick fix the Fusebase team could make, because it'd be really convenient to just be able to quickly find your files. Now, once I've added a file to a document, if it's an image, like in this case, I can click on the triple dots and convert this to an image. And there I can can see my image and actually resize it so that it flows with my document how I'd like. Organizationally, of course, you can rename your pages. So this is my great page, and I'm going to give it the tag demo so that I can easily find it later. There is a dedicated tag section over here where as I add new tags in, I can easily find everything that has a similar tag. So for example, if I also tag this demo and I'll say less great page for the title. And now if I click on the demo tag over here, I can see the 2 pages that have that demo tag. Any page can be added to a portal or just shared directly. We're going to look at portals later on. So there are some sharing options here. If you don't want to create a portal, you just want to make this something that people can view, just go ahead and turn on the sharing link, and then you can copy it and share it wherever you like. It is possible to password protect a particular page. Just turn this toggle on and then add your password so that people are not sharing it literally all over the web, and you can just share it with 1 or 2 people without adding them to your Nimbus account, or excuse me, your Fusebase account. If you'd rather embed your pages on your website or some other places that accept embed codes, you do get code right over here. You can go ahead and generate that, choose a fixed size if you prefer, and even password protect those. In addition to sharing your pages, each page can actually be downloaded as HTML or a PDF. You can have some style options here like you see in Notion to make things wider or read only. So that is very nice if you get things just how you want them. People don't accidentally go in and change them, which has happened quite a few times to me inside of Notion. I've been just kind of dumping everything into the unsorted folder over here, but you can certainly create folders and even nest folders. So go up to the main folder here and I can create my own folder. I'll just call it Dave's folder. And then just like you'd anticipate, you can easily drag and drop your items into that folder. So there we go. Now it's starting to get populated. I think the last feature to cover in the internal workspaces is templates. Of course, templates exist. There's dozens of them here, but I wanted to start off clean before we got into this because sometimes templates can be a little bit overwhelming in my opinion. Sometimes it's nice to just start off basic, but we've got a lot of different categories here. So let's say you wanted to build out a sales process for yourself. You can click on sales right over here. And here are some of the different sales templates. There are a lot of them. We're up to about a dozen, I don't know, maybe a couple dozen different templates here. So let's say we were doing sales call preparation. I'm going to use that template as my starting point. I'll just click use template here, choose the workspace I want to import it into. I'm going to do workspace 2 here, hit save, and then let's open that up. Here it comes. And now I've got this sales call preparation document right over here. If I'm getting ready for a call, I can go ahead and fill this out so I feel nice and prepared before I actually take the call. All right, let's move on to external workspaces, aka client portals. So I'm going to click the plus button right over here to create my very own portal. I'm going to call this Dave's Portal, and that is taken. So I'll say Dave's Portal that rocks, and you can see the subdomain down here. Now we can assign a custom domain to this, but let's go ahead and create a brand new portal here, and we can see the layout all right away. It looks like a beautiful templated website. There's different color schemes we can pick out. Here is lemon drop. I like that one. Let's go with it. We're going to hit finish and create the space. It's going to take a moment here as it actually builds things out. And now my portal is ready. I can either go back to the dashboard, do nothing with it, which is a weird option, but we can go back in and actually start editing here. So you can see the portal comes pretty complete. We've got a homepage, a nice little feature box up here, a nice header section, tasks, chat, and files. There's an edit page button right at the top. We open this up and now we're back in the Nimbus editor or the Fusebase editor, and we can begin building out our portal. We've got 3 different modes. We're in builder mode right now. There is also focus mode, which hides a lot of our options, and then preview mode, which hides the rest of them. So in builder mode, I've got access to everything that I need. You can see the different sections over here. So sidebar content, if I want to add in a sidebar with different links, I could do that. We've got our top bar content right over here, which currently has tasks, chat, and files in it. And then we also have our footer content, which is right down here. Now, clicking on any one of these areas will give me the ability to edit their style. But if I actually want to add content to them, I do need to use the plus button over here where I can see the different options. So in the case of the footer, I could add a document page, a files page, a blank page, or I could work on the structure here with folders, external links, and processes, or I could add in a dashboard like chat, tasks, or files. By the way, there is a dashboard for chat inside of portals because you get full live chat. That's a good way to communicate with your colleagues, with your clients, and kind of keep everybody on the same page. Here's what the chat would look like. This is my message. I can mention people. I'm the only user right now. I can go ahead and share that, and there you go. That's what a message looks like. There's a file dashboard, so if you're sharing files for a design project, any sort of collaborative thing. Be very easy to upload and share files here. Just keep in mind, if you're trying to do absolutely massive files like videos, probably not the best platform for that. Like you're doing video editing, because you do have that file limit. I think on the 10 codes, it was 2 terabytes, which you can honestly fill up pretty quickly if you're doing a high resolution video. Of course, our portal is pretty sparse right now. We've just got the homepage. You could certainly add in additional pages. And as we saw before, it's very easy to find one of your internal documents and just add it to the portal. So let's do that right now. I've added my great page here over to my portal. And if I go to the homepage, it's listed here on the sidebar. For each page, you can change the title and the slug and decide whether or not it is visible. So it can live over inside of your portal, but it's just not ready to be published yet. Just go ahead and toggle that switch on or off, whatever is appropriate. Those colors that we saw when I added in the template, that's completely customizable. Of course, if we go over to settings here and portal style, I can access any of the layouts that they provided me. So I could switch over to Carbon here if I wanted, but let's say I wanted to customize it even further. I can click the pencil icon and go through and change the individual colors throughout the entire portal. There are literally dozens of options here, and you can change all of the background images and everything that you may or may not love. It's really a full-blown website. Over in the settings general, you can add in your site icon, a portal logo, turn on or off the Fusebase branding, and add in your metadata, your title and description, so that if it does show up on a search engine, it will be described properly and be more clickable. Okay, so all of that is pretty amazing. If that was the entire deal, even without any AI, I still think this is a great application. But when you add in the AI features, that's where things really get into overdrive. The biggest feature, the newest one, is their AI agents. This is essentially like building out your own project inside of ChatGPT that's got access to whatever information you're already storing inside of Fusebase. That is so powerful because now you don't have to build things twice. You can keep them up in one place. It's easy to edit them, keep them up to date with whatever's going on in your business, and then the AI always has access to that. I find that with other LLMs that I'm building projects, they can be very useful, but when they become outdated, it can be kind of difficult to go into the project, update the training information, and then you've kind of got two sources of truth wherever you're creating that data and then having to upload it over to your project. So really unifying it makes a ton of sense. There are some templates that you can get started with here. They've got AI chat with web search, just kind of like a ChatGPT type of thing. We've got an AI text writer. One that really stood out to me is Honesty GPT. I think this is a really cool idea. It's a fact checker that's basically built into your Fusebase, so you can make sure you're always having factual information. But we've got a knowledge base builder as well, and even just a web scraper. We can do an AI data extractor. It can go ahead and grab data from any document that you add and then structure it into any other format. So if you create a new AI agent, just click right up here where it says add new. You can give the agent a title, assign it a category, give it a description, and then add in the custom prompt here. You can define which LLM it is currently using. These are the options that are available. We've got everything up to GPT-5 Pro. All OpenAI properties, so if you're a fan of Claude or Grok or any of those, they will not be available inside of this tool currently. There's also a toggle switch to turn on and off web search, so that's very helpful. And then the sources tab. This is probably the most important part. We can add in any of our documents. So I'm going to go over to my internal space here, find Dave's folder, and add in my less great page. So we'll add that, and now it's a document that can be searched with my AI agent. But the fun doesn't end there. If you've got a third-party MCP you want to connect up, you can do that. It supports SSE as well as streamable HTTP, and it connects to applications you might already be using, like Airtable or Asana or Google Drive. You can connect up anything that you see in this list. You can even connect Notion up, and then it's going to be available as a source for your AI agent. Agents can be private. They can be for everybody in your Fusebase, or they can be for specific members. You can change that under the visibility. And then they're also adding in the ability to share and embed these later on, not currently available right now. It says coming soon by October 1st. It's October 1st right now, so that might ship later today for all I know. So that's your AI agents. Now, in terms of actually just using AI when you're inside of the editor, you have quite a few options here. There is a little AI icon right here where I can have it do something specific, like draft a sales email, and let's say it's going to be about Cheerios. and it's going to go ahead and start writing my sales email right there. Cool. I mean, obviously I could be more specific if I wanted to. There's revision options like continue writing, make shorter, make longer, try again, the normal options. If I'm happy, just click done, and there we go. Here is my document. Now there's a few other options to find AI as you're using the tool here. There's a work with AI option at the top. We can ask AI right here, and that's going to do the same thing as clicking that button you saw before. Or I can easily access my agents down here. There's also AI over here. That's an AI assistant where it's going to basically give you information about the page. Summarize this page for me. And there we go. Here's my summary. I guess the important distinction here is that if I don't want the AI to actually change the contents of my page, I should use the little widget in the corner. But if I actually want it to impact the document, well, I can use the tool right here or click on work with AI and ask AI. If I use an AI agent, like let's choose use AI agent, and I'm just going to use the AI chat here, it's actually going to pop this out into a sidebar on my page. I can have it use page context and ask it anything about the page. Does it take a long time to use Cheerios? And it's going to go ahead and read my document and give me an answer over here in more of a chat format. Now, based on that response, I can insert this into the page. So you can see here how we have three totally distinct use cases for AI. Now, let's say I was not using Fusebase at all. I'm just reading an article here about the invention of the electric guitar. Well, I can pull open my AI agents, go ahead and ask it a question like, when was the electric guitar invented? Click on use page context, submit the question. It's going to read the page and then give me an answer. All right, there we go. It actually took a little while. It took 21 seconds. I probably could have found that myself a little bit faster, but the important point here is that I've got a button that I can click to add this over to Fusebase. I can create a brand new document or add it to an existing one. So let's go ahead and switch over to the correct workspace here, workspace number 2. There are ways to set your preferences for what it defaults to, by the way, so you won't always be struggling. And I'm going to add this to my Let's Create page. Now there's also a copy button over here. So if you find that to be faster or you want to use the information in another tool, you could do that. But I love the fact that this is now added to my Fusebase. Let's check it out. Here is my Let's Create page. Now, honestly, I've got a lot of sidebars happening here because I got the Chrome extension on, and then I also have the AI agent inside of Fusebase itself. But if I scroll down, here is the context that was just added from my search. The electric guitar was invented in the early 1930s. Pretty darn cool. So that is Fusebase. What do you think? I'm definitely impressed with this tool. It is definitely very, very powerful. As far as choosing the right plan, there's a few things you might want to look out for. Well, basically look where the red X's are. So on codes 1 and 2, we're not going to get all of the features that I demonstrated, such as being able to export to HTML or web search in agents. You don't get that up until tier 3. If you really want everything to turn to a green check mark instead of a red X, well, things like white labeling, HIPAA, these things could be very important to your business. You will need to go all the way up to tier 5, at which point we are looking at specifically just the limits that we are getting. How many workspaces, how many client portals can we build? How many client accounts do we get? So on and so forth. I'll pause right here and you can take a gander at what plan might be best for you. I will go up to the 10 codes here, and you can see that at 10 codes, a lot of the features become unlimited. So in summary, I think Fusebase is a very powerful platform that a lot of people are really going to connect with. I like the linearity of it. It's not necessarily as complex as something like Notion, which honestly I think most people will appreciate. If you're one of the few power users that really needs relational data and rollups, well, Notion is there for that. But for the rest of us, Fusebase is going to do the job very well. I'm going to go ahead and give Fusebase an 8.4 out of 10. Definitely recommend picking this one up if there is still time. By the way, I've got a link below in the description. If you click that before making a purchase, it does help out this channel. And thank you to everybody who has been supporting my content. Leave me a comment down below if you've got any questions, comments, or just want to share your experience with Fusebase. I definitely would like to hear that. Get subscribed if you're new around here. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.